Alright, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to RUMOURS Hub again. I'm your host, Dr. Jota, and today I'm going to deliver four more news regarding to Real Madrid, because I consider that I had to talk about that stuff because these news are involving to four different names from Real Madrid, or names that are really important for different reasons to Real Madrid. For example, let's get started with the first name, and that is Martin Odegaard, and the possibility for him to get back to Arsenal. But that is not exactly the news. The news is that according to some newspapers and media in England, Arsenal is keeping an eye on the situation of the Norwegian players because they want to go ahead and sign him back for the next season. However, if they are unable to sign Martin Odegaard, according to this article, they are willing to fight for another midfielder from Real Madrid, and that is Isco Alarcón. So it is going to be one or the other, but Arsenal will try to fish this summer in Real Madrid. That is for sure. I mean, according to all the information I've been gathering over the last weeks, Arsenal was so happy with Martin Odegaard that they are considering to get him back. And once they learn that the player is willing to leave Real Madrid, I would say that these guys will try everything they got to get him back again in the squad, and of course try to take advantage of this weird situation and, like I said, get him back for the squad. But if they can't, then they will have another chance signing to Isco Alarcón, who, in my opinion, is the kind of player that Mikel Arteta really liked the most. I mean, or at least Mikel Arteta really likes Isco Alarcón. I mean, they're completely different though. They are completely different players. I mean, nothing similar in them. It is similar because they play in kind of the same positions, but the way they proceed, the way they play, the way they move the ball, the way they touch the ball, the way they get the ball, keep it, and try to find different spots, running straight up to the rival area, rival box, and things like that. They are completely different players. So we're not talking about the same, right? So one or the other, apparently Arsenal wants to try to sign one of them, Odegaard or Isco. In my opinion, I would say Isco, because Odegaard, man, I still can't believe that he is going to leave, or he wants to leave Real Madrid with only one game played. I mean, it is just nuts, and that would be stunning, seeing how Martin Odegaard flee Real Madrid for another team, right? So in my opinion, Isco has more chances to go and play out in Arsenal, because as you know, for Real Madrid, Isco Alarcón is still on the market, and as long as we have another good offer coming through, in my opinion, Real Madrid will be willing to sell the player and things like that. So it's gonna be easier for Arsenal try the Isco Alarcón route rather than the Odegaard route. But I don't know, man, because right now the only information that I have is just that Arsenal wants to fish in Real Madrid this summer. So, okay, let's move on and let's keep talking about another player who is again in the middle of the controversy, and it is because his performance the other day against Glasgow Rangers. I'm talking about Marcelo, and this article is claiming that Marcelo might be in the starting 11 in the debut of Real Madrid of La Liga the next month against Alaves. So Marcelo will be featured in the starting 11 against Alaves as the number one option for Ancelotti to play in the left back. So is that true? And if so, is that decision accurate? Is that fair enough? Or does Carlo Ancelotti have any other chance, any other player, any other names to place in that position? Okay, let me tell you what. First thing, Marcelo did a horrible job, did a horrible performance, and it was a very poor image what he left the other day against Glasgow Rangers, right? So that is number one. Number two, he's old. And in my opinion, Carlo Ancelotti has many more options and many more and better players to play in the left back position rather than in ahead of Marcelo Vieira. I mean, you have to still remember that you can count on Miguel Gutierrez, who is, in my opinion, a guy completely ready to go and ready to be there, and of course with the maturity enough to play in the starting 11 of Real Madrid. But if you don't want to see Miguel Gutierrez in the left back, you still can utilize David Alaba in the left back position, because as you know, David Alaba knows very well that position, and with Carlo Ancelotti in Bayern de Munich back in the day, he used to play as a left back. In the left back, it is great for David Alaba. But if you are going to put ahead of everybody to Marcelo in the left back, man, in my opinion, this is not the right choice. It's a very poor choice, and to me, Marcelo should stay on the bench, and unless we don't have any other choice, we should use different players like Miguel Gutierrez or David Alaba for the left back. But let's see what happens. So now, the third story I have for you all, guys, it is about Jules Koundé, because the thing is heating up with the center back of Sevilla, because apparently, according to Fabrizio Romano, Chelsea has opened a line of communication with Sevilla, because apparently they are interested in signing the player this year. I mean, according to Fabrizio Romano as well the other day, and I mean, he was explaining the reasons why why Chelsea ruled out the signing of Rafa Varane this summer. And the reason was pretty much because they already had two players like Thiago and Rudiger willing to keep playing and in a very good level and very committed players, so there was no reason for them to sign any other center back, and that is why they decided not to go ahead and try to join the race for signing Rafa Varane. So that is funny to me, because now what we're listening is pretty much that they apparently want again to sign another center back. I mean, the signing of a center back is again another priority for Chelsea, and they have opened a line of communication with Sevilla in order for them to know what kind of market price Sevilla is asking for the player, and I would say about 70 to 80 million or something like that. So how is that can go? I mean, how can that affect to Real Madrid and the possibility for Los Blancos to sign Jules Koundé? I think it's pretty obvious. If Real Madrid is not 100% determined to sign Jules Koundé, then Chelsea will have so many more chances than Real Madrid to sign the French center back, because the other day, reportedly, Jules Koundé was determined to play in Real Madrid, and he was even willing to wait for Los Blancos until the next year, 2022. But now that Chelsea is popping up with another and coming up with another offer, then I would say that Jules Koundé might be interested in signing the Blues, because you never know in the future. And maybe for him it's great to play in Real Madrid, but it doesn't mean that he's going to get it. So considering in soccer, in the soccer world, in the soccer spectrum, in the soccer industry, there is a lot of uncertainty out there. The best way for you is try to grab something for sure, so that way you can plan ahead and say, okay, I'm going to try this route, I'm going to play this game, I'm going to play in this team or something like that. But on the other hand, if you wait, say for example that Real Madrid has plenty of center backs who are doing a great job, and doesn't have the necessity anymore to sign any other center back. Okay, so the next year, Jules Koundé would see how Real Madrid is ruling out to sign another center back, and he might miss a big chance. You know what I'm saying? So if I were Jules Koundé, I would probably say, okay, I'm going to try Chelsea because it's much more secure or safer for me at this point, or things like that, you know? I mean, if I were a soccer player, of course, I would never wait for anybody, because in soccer, you never know, man. I mean, today maybe you have chances, but maybe tomorrow you don't. So you never know. So let's see what happens, but Chelsea is definitely another competition to Real Madrid for signing Jules Koundé. And let me finish the video talking about something really important, interesting, and that can really affect to the future of Erling Haaland and Real Madrid. I'm gonna talk about the interview that Erling Haaland conceded to Bild, the German newspaper, where he was asked about the possibility for him to sign Chelsea, and he was talking about the rumors that out there claiming that Chelsea threw upon the table about 175 million euros. Okay, Erling Haaland responded to those rumors, and he said that is hopefully it's just a rumor, because that is insane, crazy money for just one player. I don't know if this guy was hinting something or was trying to say something or hidden message or something like that, but considering the next year, he would worth, according to some information, 75 million. What in my opinion he's trying to say is, hey, hold on, why don't you guys wait for me the next year, and then you can go ahead and pay just 75 million to sign me, instead of going ahead this year and have to pay about 175, 150, 200 million or something like that. I think it's a much better option for the team that really is interested in signing him the next year. I mean, whether Chelsea or Real Madrid, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know what are these teams are going to do. It's not sure, but of course, it's definitely something sure that Erling Haaland wants to play in another team, maybe not this year, but maybe the next year. So let's see what happens.